Carol Eaton, Executive Director in Instructional Data Services.
And I'm Bob Good, Director of Instructional Assessment.
For a number of years, the Colorado Department of Education has been moving the state toward higher expectations for K-12 education. In order to do that, they created new standards. Standards are what we expect children to know and be able to do at every grade level in different content areas like English and math. So they created new standards called the Colorado Academic Standards. And those standards are more rigorous, they're more challenging, they have higher expectations for students. So what we're seeing is the tests now have to shift, the state tests, to reflect those standards, to be able to ask more critical thinking and more complex problem-solving skills. And so that's how the tests have changed over time, is being able to measure that higher expectation for our students.
Most of the tests that were done before CMAS they relied on multiple choice and short constructed response. So students could write a little bit, but they really weren't given a chance to explain their thinking very much. These tests, they have a variety of different items where they can actually interact with the items on the computer, drag and drop things, they can select different things. You can actually have multiple choice items where there's more than one correct answer. So they get a chance to really explain their thinking a little bit more and be a little more creative with their responses.
When you think about it, the old assessments would ask something like, I am most proud of the fact that I did this school year. The new assessment would ask more, you have read a passage from the Count of Monte Cristo and a scene from Blessings. Think about the similarities and differences between the two authors and develop themes in the text. So you can see the richness of the CMAS item is much deeper in their having to process and have critical thinking around comparing two texts. CMAS is part of a balanced assessment system. So when you think about all the assessments that our students take, they take classroom assessments in order to get just-in-time information for the teacher to be able to understand what a student may need to still learn and what they've already mastered. They also have school assessments and district assessments to understand how they compare to maybe other classrooms or other schools and make sure they're on track with those expectations. And then what the state test allows us to do is then compare how our schools are doing and how our district is doing compared to state expectations around the standards.
Every student that took the assessment is going to receive an individual score report. On that score report, they'll have overall performance levels for both mathematics and English language arts. And then within mathematics and English language arts, there are certain skill areas that they'll receive feedback on. Students and teachers and parents can take a look at where students are excelling and where students have areas of need that they can address and set goals.
So the Colorado Department of Education has said they expected to see scores at a lower level than in the old test. But when you think about it, we've changed to a whole new expectation. So when you raise the bar, you're not going to expect to have the same results. So the expectation was scores were to go down. The state has seen scores go down. And what they've said is it's a new baseline. So we need to start fresh with these scores and say, how are we going to grow our kids from here to be able to get them college and career ready?
I wouldn't put too much stock into this is the end-all be-all. I think it's really important to take them as one more indication of how we are doing and know that we're going to work very hard to continue to improve.
if a student comes home with a score that maybe isn't what they had performed in the past years on the state test, it's really important that the student doesn't think they've lost ground or they're not doing as well as they did before, because the bar has raised. And what they're doing at a level now, they can see where they're working at and grow from there.
I think a couple great resources are back at the school, talking with the building principal or talking with the individual teacher. Parent conferences are a great way to figure out what your student is good at, what they could use some more work in. So I think that'd be a place to start. I know there's resources on the CDE website that will share how those tests are interpreted, and we're going to try to do some things on our website to make sure that parents have the information they need.
The state has responded to a lot of feedback that it received around the amount of assessments and the length of assessments. And the spring 2016 assessments are going to be shorter. They're going to be one window, whereas last year it was two. And so it's going to be a more condensed time.
And so we're hoping that that will get more and more minimal as we move forward, the statewide testing piece, and we'll be able to use some more of our local measures to ascertain where students are at.
And then also going forward, we're going to be able to get the results earlier.
But that state test gives us that quick overall checkup, are we on track for expectations for college and career ready?